studies criminal justice.
I like the round number. You know, let's just get on. We gotta get stuff done. So good morning, good morning. I'm sure some people will pile in and we will get cooking this morning for you. Something interesting I heard about clocks as we're talking about time. Fun fact for the day. When you look at an analog clock, they've done a bunch of research, psychologists, and when you look at an analog clock like that, you feel like you have more time than those of us who use digital clocks. And what they found the reason was is when you look at the analog clock, you can see how much time is left in an hour. So your brain can kind of adjust to it. But when you see just a number, you're like, I'm late or I'm not. So kind of fun fact, you might consider putting an analog clock up at home if it's an area that you're calling, prospecting, doing work. I've replaced a couple digital clocks as a result of doing that. So we will get started with a couple of gratitudes, as we always like to do. Something you're grateful for, personal or professional. Like to go quick and dive into our main event today. So who's got a gratitude really quickly? Speak up.
Snow on the mountain and ski resorts are open.
Snow on the mountain, ski resorts are open.
Greg's smiling too.
Who is planning this year at some point to either go up skiing, snowboarding, sit in the lodge, hit a mountain at some point? Okay. On Zoom, how many do we have hit? Jet's nodding. Anyone else hit the mountain in any form or fashion? Okay. I'd say a good 40% plan to hit the mountain at some point. I love that. So good snow on the mountain this year. Who else has a gratitude, personal or professional?
I got one. I got
my
one.
daughter came. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Who was that? Omar? Coach, what do you got? And then we'll go to Greg.
Elections over, no more political ads.
That's right. We can get back to all of our pharmaceutical ads again. This excited. Greg. He's got a mouthful.
Sorry.
One word.
My daughter came with me to the party on Saturday and she noticed how many of the agents here had kids, and she's a babysitter. So she wanted me to bring her babysitter. Yeah. Well, I will, I guess maybe leave them on the, can I leave them over here?
That'd be great.
All right. She wants to babysit.
Great.
For your kids. So.
Hey, Drew, I got one.
Good. Greg's ABC always be closing. Ed.
I have two wonderful daughters. One of my daughter's birthday is tomorrow.
Wow.
She's in the room.
Alex.
That's not true.
Fake news?
That's true. Big birthday tomorrow. Both Allie and my wife's birthday is tomorrow. So it's always a pretty big day. It's like not one that I can forget.
Best reminder for you. That's
a great reminder. Thank you, Ed. Well, perfect. I always like to start with some positive things. Good morning, Rex. So let us dive into notes. We are going to
just a couple
housekeeping first.
Housekeeping stuff first. I know I mentioned this, but we have this box up here for With Love. So if you have any toys, Lindsay did send out the list of different things that you can purchase from Amazon. Pretty affordable. You can definitely
scan the barcode on the tire. It'll bring up our list too on the box.
So again, this is open to the public. So good touch point for clients. If you want to reach out, call them and have them donate something too. It's open
Allie,
Monday, Friday, 8 to 5.
we need to, maybe you were just addressing it. We need to put the hours that there's somebody manning the office because Amazon tried to deliver yesterday after hours because I hadn't put that in there.
Okay, perfect. Good call, Sue. Oh, Scott.
8 to 5.
Okay, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If someone's gonna be delivering something via Amazon, so.
Does Sue mean this office or With Love's office?
Here. So you mean this?
I sent my stuff right to With Love.
Yeah.
Oh, I sent mine to Opt.
Oh.
Both are great, but usually they'll try to redeliver. But yeah, 8 to 5 if we need to do that. Thank you for doing that, Sue. That's awesome. And you too, Greg.
Next up tomorrow at 8 a.m. I know it's early, but at 8 a.m. we're doing a ninja selling business planning session here. So every year Larry Kendall puts on a business planning session. It's 3 hours long. We attend every year and we're going to stream it live in the office. So you do need to be here physically in the office to attend that session, but it's an amazing business planning workshop for any of you who know the ninja selling system. It's really quality. So would love to see as many of you here. We will have food and breakfast and coffee. Anything on that?
No, I'm super excited about it. I mean, Ninja does a phenomenal job with that. If you haven't been through it, probably the most organized. I know Buffini's got one going now, which I'll tune into later on as well. A few others, but far and away, Ninja, they're results oriented. I think they're very organized. One of the best things about 2024 for me, a real highlight has been we've created a great relationship with Larry personally, and we've got some fun things in 2025 related to Ninja and Larry that will be rolling out. So this will be a good starting point, and it's kind of like the first step of New Year's resolutions, right? So 8 a.m., maybe one of your resolutions, get up a little earlier and knock stuff out. See you tomorrow at 8.
And last but not least, in terms of housekeeping and announcements, I know some of you, Aaron or Robin, Drew, and myself, the people who have been around the Drew Coleman team for a longer time, are having a lot of emails come through. I woke up this morning to Drew's email having 2,000 emails. And the reason for this is because we're doing an email migration. So Side currently owns our G Suite Gmail account. We are taking control of that. It allows us to do different things that we want to have control of our own email in our G Suite and be able to save things and just organize it the way that we would like. So there will be a little bit of transition. I think some of you have already been experiencing that, but today it should be happening at 5 p.m. So from about 5 to 5:36, anticipate a little bit of an email disruption. What is going to happen once that migration has occurred? Your email will stay the same. There will be no change to your email or anything. However, it will be us taking control of that, and Side will not have control over our email anymore.
Are we still going to keep the Drew Coleman one? Because I still have emails that come in from people.
So what is happening? We already had our Drew Coleman account, right, from before.
Yeah.
So we've essentially said, I've set up every single person as a user with Drew Coleman.
Okay.
What is happening is the opt domain will be an overlay on Drew Coleman's account. So that Drew Coleman account will be going away, but just like you and mine, they're just merging. It's one account.
I get from old clients.
Their email will still go
It's
to you.
one account.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
and forgive the at Drew Coleman. I know it's weird, but it just happened to be a domain that we own
Mhm.
that we had to slap it somewhere so that we can move this and then retarget it. So it's just like a bing, bing, bing. We had to have a place. We owned this domain. We thought we would do it. So
So
rest
what?
assured, nothing's going that direct. Never.
Yeah, so what is going to happen at around 5:30 is you will be logged out of your account everywhere. So on your email or on your phone, on your computer, and essentially you need to click create new account and re-log in. So your email will still be robin@theop.com, but it's going to be treated as a new account because the old account is then sunset. So it will become, I don't know if any of you have ever emailed Side and it says Side old. It'll essentially be the opt old will be the old place. And now your new account will be, I know this is technical and getting all of you are bored, but you have to click new account and re-log in. Your password is all going to be the opt123. I have a Slack, of course, coming out to all of you so that you know this. As soon as you log in, you will create your new password and you'll be up and running and we will have control of our email. So I really appreciate everyone bearing with us through the transition. It'll allow us more flexibility going forward though.
Does anyone have questions about the why of this, or are we like all good? If someone has a question, that's great. I can go deeper into it if you'd like me to. I mean, I'll give one anecdote is like since with the email control also came like Google Drive control, where one time I logged in and I saw a legal proceeding summons about someone with domestic violence related to divorce for another side partner across the country. I thought this is just not the kind of thing I want seeing or us having visibility to. We thought having complete control of our domain allows us to create distribution lists, things like that. We just want so should be very little disruption. We hope we'll get it knocked out today and we'll be ready to run.
Cool. That's my housekeeping.
Cool. Opportunities, needs. Who's got buyers or sellers that they are working with that are braving the holiday season, putting their home on the market, are still looking in 6 straight days of rain. Who's got it? Go to the second person because first person's always shy. Let's go second.
I'll go second.
Okay, you go second, Chris.
I've got my, I brought this up at a previous meeting, but buyers looking at Lake Oswego, million to 1.1 for the right place. 4-bed, 2-bath. They would love easement access if possible, but it's not a deal breaker if it doesn't have that. They're in town next week. I'm trying to get them into as many homes as I can so they can make a decision. So if you've got something, they're open to area, 034 or 035. They're not too picky on that, but and even square footage, they're not looking for anything too crazy, around 2,000 plus square feet. Yeah, they're motivated, ready to rock and hot market stuff. They seem to be interested in.
Love that.
Yeah.
Price, they're going up to 1.1, you said ish?
1.1 if for the right, they prefer to be closer to 1 million, but I think if it checks all the boxes, it'd be all in. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good opportunity there. Who's got another buyer or seller?
Mine are all the same bushes, so.
Perfect.
Oh, I got a buyer. Sorry, I was muted.
Victoria's got a buyer. Hit it, Victoria.
I've got some buyers that are pretty desperate and they're really discouraged because they need to be in a home by the end of the year. They need to find something that's move-in ready, updated. Ideally has like an office space that's outside of the home or inside of the home is fine, up to 725. They want something walkable, so Selwood, Fremont, Alberta, Hillsdale, Multnomah Village, anything like that, but they've been beat out multiple times on their offers and they're starting to get really disappointed.
I'm going to an appointment at 2 o'clock today that sounds exactly like that, Victoria. So maybe check in with me a little bit later this afternoon and I'll see if that's coming. They're moving back to Boston. So
Sounds good.
they will have to sell it. Anyone else? Rakesh.
I have a buyer, 450 price point, close to St. John's area, Alberta, Stephen, and Tabor. So,
Okay.
Tabor.
There you go.
Okay, I'm like,
Work on that one.
yeah, work on that one. Hopefully don't talk about it. Yeah, so newly married couple, anything 2-bedroom, 1.5, under 2,000 square feet.
Okay. Bedroom, 1.5 bath. Got it. Anyone else?
I have one.
Okay, great. Go for it, Megan.
Coming live on Thursday. It's North Vancouver, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. We're coming in at 515. It's in pretty good shape. It just needs like new carpet and maybe some updating.
Perfect. 515 North Portland. Oh, it's in. I thought you said it was on North Vancouver. Is it in Vancouver?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. North Portland, Vancouver. I was already placing it. Good. Washington property. Love it. Anyone else? All right. Well, I'm going to introduce 2 of our guests. One is very familiar to you, Tyler Tucker. He's going to give us a little mortgage update. I asked him to come in and give us about 5 minutes on the market. I know that rates have been dancing around. You talk about post-election, not having to watch commercials. Now we can kind of see what rates actually do going forward. So.
Yeah, totally. I'm thrilled that the elections are over. I think it's, as all you guys have probably felt, that there was a lot. This election was different, right? There was some more tension around this election. I felt, anyways, from my clients. And now it's like rates are still the same, and people are calling. So I think what generally I got the vibe from most folks was, I don't want to do anything until I see what happens after the election, which we can all argue about whether that's a right or wrong decision, but that's the vibe that I got from most of my clients. Rates have stayed relatively in the same arena as they have over the last couple of weeks. Upper 6s on conventional, low 6s on VA, FHA, sometimes dipping down into the upper 5s with VA and FHA, which is something that I wanted to talk about today because it's an important shift in my market that I haven't seen in the 10 years I've been doing. which is there's a huge discrepancy right now, a larger discrepancy than we're normally used to seeing between FHA, VA, those government-based mortgage pricing and conventional pricing. So as an agent, I would be on the lookout, both on the listing side and on the buyer side, for more, especially first-time home buyers. Because VA is a separate deal. I mean, VA is, you have to be a veteran to get the mortgage. But for FHA, first-time home buyers, 10% down or less. I'm seeing a lot of folks leaning more towards FHA versus conventional, even with higher credit scores. So historically speaking, folks have leaned more towards conventional with 760, 780 credit scores, even with 3 and 5% down. But the monthly payment differential right now, because the difference between FHA and conventional is so large, we're seeing folks saving $200, $300 a month going with FHA. The reason I bring this up is because oftentimes I hear from real estate agents, hey, Tyler, what about the property condition? Is that a big deal? No, I've yet to see in my career property condition holding up an FHA or VA loan from closing versus conventional. So here's where the rubber really meets the road. If home is in such bad condition that it doesn't appraise out with FHA or VA, it ain't gonna appraise out with conventional. So when we look at the pieces that really FHA and VA appraisers focus on, it's things like peeling paint, moss on the roof. Is there a vapor barrier in the basement? Small cosmetic stuff that the cost to cure those things is so small that it doesn't end up blowing the transaction up, because buyer and seller meet in the middle and find a way to resolve those pieces, whether it's the buyer taking care of it or the seller taking care of it, because the cost to cure is so small. It's not a $10,000 sewer repair.
I had a great example of that this year.
Yeah.
One of the rougher fixers that I've seen, they went FHA. And you're right, the appraiser came back with a list of about 9 things that need to be resolved. They were the most minor things. Like, you didn't want them to do that, but you wanted to do like exactly what you're saying. We knocked out the entire list and it closed.
Take the example, Greg. It's important to remember that an appraiser is not an inspector. So that's where I think most folks get turned around, is they're like, oh gosh, the appraiser is going to call out this, that, and the other thing. Well, no, they've got a list of things actually that they call out, and it's all cosmetic stuff. Very small.
It's just so interesting. I mean, listing agents are so quick to say it won't appraise out. How do you know? How do you know? Right? Oh, I just know. It just
Are you an appraiser?
Yeah. They have no idea. I'm like, how about we try it? Oh no.
Yeah, that's a great point of view, Greg. I've gotten a couple of phone calls recently from a few agents on the team with deals that are going sideways. And I don't mean sideways like, hey, there's some like things that we can do to make this all better. It's like, actually, this isn't going to close. Both of them were FHA and VA. So I wanted to call out the hot buttons to look out for as an agent. FHA is super important. Condominiums has to be on FHA's approved list. This is something that I can look up, Christian can look up for you. It's in HUD's website. It takes me 30 seconds to look up. We always want to check when writing FHA offer on condo, is condominium approved? Is the HOA approved on the approved list? Because if it is, then it's a slam dunk. It's a go. There's no like rechecking anything. We don't ask the HOA for anything more. FHA's already vetted it all out. So that's a closed loan. That's a closed deal when it's on the approved list and the borrower's qualified. VA. One recent thing that came up in this deal that's going sideways on the VA side is common misconceptions. You can have 2 VA loans at once. Well, you can. It's a technicality. However, I don't know the math behind it all, like specifically down to the penny. All I remember is from this rule with VA is if you want 2 VA loans at one time, you need to have a really large down payment on the next one, because VA only guarantees so much entitlement to the veteran. So if you've got a $300,000 loan already existing, probably they only lend you about $200,000 on the second one. So you need a large down payment to fill the gap. Those are the 2 things that I often see come up as far as like showstoppers, FHA, VA. Wanted to bring it up just because FHA and VA pricing is so aggressive right now. Keep in mind, they're like a big insurance company, FHA and VA are. They've got a ton of money in the insurance bucket right now because they did really well in 2020 and 2021. And so they're willing to take on more risk.
And then speaking of VA, it needs to be approved. Condos need to be approved for VA too.
Thank you, Robin. Yes, 100%. Great point. Yep. They do.
I didn't realize that for a long time.
Only a handful of condominium associations in the Portland area that are both FHA and VA approved. So it's always, and you can vet it all out on VA's website as well.
Just wondering if there's a list for us to find that out, but you said it's on the website.
I'll send you guys an email today to all company and I'll include the links. I don't want you guys doing my job. So anything that comes up where you've got a condo that is listed FHA or VA, I'm always happy to check for you. The reason I bring that up is it's very important, the verbiage that you use when you look for the search criteria. Less is more. Arbor townhomes or Arbor condominiums, for example, I'll say that just because it's top of mind. When you're doing the search, you just want to put in the state of Oregon and Arbor. Don't type out condominium, just do Arbor. And then there'll be a list that populates. It'll be Arbor condominiums, LLC. I'm making stuff up and a bunch of other things, but you'll find on there if it's on the list or not. But if too much, verbiage in there in the search, you probably won't find anything. Other questions?
Would you mind slacking that to me, Tyler? So we don't lose it with the email moving over today?
Yes.
And then I'll slack that out and we'll make sure you get credited for it. And is there a Washington similar?
It's federal stuff.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
yeah, it's all the same thing.
Love it.
Yep, it's all in the same search, but yep, you just type in the state.
Yep.
And name the HOA.
Love it.
Okay.
Thanks, brother.
Love you guys. Thank you. I gotta hop. I got a 10:30.
Okay,
See you guys.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, awesome. Definitely worth looking at FHA. It's funny that it's that much cheaper right now. So before I move on, I want to turn it over to our featured event. I'm really excited about this. We've been working on this for a long, long time, and this will, I think, be very helpful in your businesses. Want to thank everyone. Thank Lindsay, Allie, Anna, everybody that made this weekend really successful. Scott, of course, getting the Hawks, amazing. We had like double the turnout that we were thinking. We did a lot of food. We had a ton of people through, and it's just I'm just so touched by the way people talk about just like, hey, just want to know what ops about. I'm hearing ops here and there and that, and that has nothing to do with me or Allie or us. It has to do with the way you guys are protecting yourself in the community, and it's just makes me really proud. So thank you for that, and thanks for making it special. Okay. Often when clients need to get their property on the market, there's work to be done. And we've talked in the past about some other products that exist like Revive or Curbio that are very constrictive as far as what contractors you can use and how to do it. Well, my friend I always thought Jet Lock was the coolest named guy I've ever met. But this friend of mine, client of Robin's, Max Cool. I mean, you can't beat that. Max has been in the tech space in real estate for a long time. He worked with Homelight. He's currently partnered with a company called Notable that outside, I think we're going to be opening this in Oregon, Max, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, there's like 2 companies.
Okay, perfect. So it was a Compass product. It rolled out a Compass, but it's been very popular for them. It enables your clients to really have complete control of getting their property on the market with some funding that is very easy to get. So I'm excited for him to talk about a program that we're going to call Opt Enhance. So Max Cool, come up and take it away, my friend.
That's cooler than Jennifer Lopez.
So yeah, this is funny. The rep that I have that's down in Southern California is literally named Jennifer Lopez, and so her name was on the agent center, and she was like, "Are you full of it? Like, what do you guys?" I think this is like you forgot to update the engineer. Like the engineers forgot to update. And I'm like, no, I swear to God, her name is literally Jennifer Lopez. He like jumps on the call, so you get stuck with me. But yeah, my name is Max. I run partnerships for Notable, like for the entire country. We're a nationwide group. I happen to live here in Portland. Robin is my wonderful agent. She's helping me buy 3 houses here in Portland. I'm gonna send somebody to and she's been great. So I met Drew through her. We've talked about a bunch of different sort of real estate things. I'm excited to bring this out for you guys. Just to kind of like start with, there's a couple of things that people have said like literally today that speak to this particular product. I think a couple of the specific questions or sort of opportunities that came up. I'm looking for a move-in ready house. I've got to get this property moving more quickly with some of the stuff that Tyler had mentioned in terms of the loans. Our product is sort of built into like
for any market, but it's particularly helpful here in this, in this context in terms of getting more properties move-in ready, addressing buyer interest, which is increasingly more and more turnkey properties. Buyers have less money to put into their houses once they purchase a house. Rates are not as good as they were previously, and there's a much stronger need to get your buyers into a house that they're going to be able to like essentially cook dinner in that first night. So it's cool to hear that there's a kind of theme here that's already even like come up that this particular product speaks to. And every time I talk about it, I like to just sort of start with like the goal of it. I'll talk about what it actually is and how it works. But the purpose of the Opt-Enhanced like program is to help you guys do a couple things. One, differentiate in listing. As Drew mentioned, there's like no other competition besides like Compass in this market that like has access to this product. We may get some like moving forward, but for now you guys kind of have early access to it. So when you sit down with one of your sellers and talk about deferring all of their expenses until the closing, the other agents that come in and sit down with them to do a listing presentation are not going to be able to offer that same product. So this is literally something that you can use to differentiate yourself in your market. We want you to have a hook, like literally a financial tool that you can offer them that they can use. And then also increase your GCI, enhance the listing price, get your client better net proceeds. So those are the kind of 3 goals that we're trying to hit with the product. What is it? Fully unsecured line of credit for your sellers up to $50,000. So fully unsecured means no mortgage, no lien, no hard credit pull. Line of credit means they get a line of credit and then they pick and choose what they want to do. Not all at once, not all up front. They can kind of pick whatever they want to do, and then they can make that decision moving forward. And there's nothing due up front, nothing due until closing. I'll talk about the fee stuff a little bit, but in Oregon specifically, there's a fantastic deal, which is that the origination fee is waived. And so it's basically interest on what they use during the time they use it, and that's it. To give context about us, as Drew mentioned, so we power Compass's concierge product. They're not big here, but they're big in California, in Seattle and New York. Over the past 4 years, we've done 30,000 transactions with this product, issued almost $1 billion in funds, have a 96% CSAT, which for a lender is pretty insane. I share these numbers with you just to give you context for the fact that it's a new product for you all. So when you're talking to a client, it's new to you, but this is something that's been in the market for a while, incredibly well proven and well tested. And what these funds allow you to do is literally cover the cost, or basically defer the cost of any expense that comes up in a listing. So that could be like very, very basic things, cleaning, decluttering, a dumpster to try to like haul stuff out, all the way to like staging, photography, moving, storage, and then things all the way up until 7 days before the close. So we can go 120 days before the listing agreement, and then up to 7 days until the close. So you get in, you sit down, you talk with your client about what they've done. They're like, well, we were excited. We redid the bathroom here like a month ago because we knew we were going to sell. We've already done that work. If they want to be reimbursed for that and just have cash in their pocket right there, we can cover that kind of situation. Also, you get an offer, gets to the inspection period, something comes up, $3,000, $5,000, you're not going to be able to close. Literally the scenarios that Tyler was talking about. We need to do this work on the property in order for it to properly close. We can cover those things as well. So the umbrella is incredibly wide, right? The way that we like to think about this product is not about like going in and renovating a house or finding a distressed property and trying to like fix that up. We can solve those scenarios, but really what the product is oriented towards is every single time you sit down, have a conversation with a client about their listing, you have an option to be able to have them not go out of pocket themselves and defer that until the closing. So see here. In terms of the actual product itself, super quick application process, literally 90 seconds for your clients to apply. They go through, they answer 10 questions about their property, list price, address. We do what's called a soft credit pull. So we never do a hard credit check. It's not going to negatively affect their credit. It's not going to hit their credit score. We don't report the line during the 12-month term, so it's not going to affect their ability to purchase and get the best mortgage themselves. With 90-second application, we built a URL that I'll share. Like literally you send them a link, they can do it on their phone, 2-factor, no password or anything. They go in, apply, see what they're eligible for. No fees if they don't use it. So they can just check and see what kind of funds are available to them based on their home price, the amount of equity they have. Once they get approved, they can use whoever they want. We're just the funding. We don't dictate who they work with. If they will have a specific handyman, they have a specific contractor, landscaper, painter, whoever that is, they can work with whoever they want to do, whoever they want to do that work with. And then we have a couple different ways that they can access those funds. So they can direct deposit them into their account. They can have a check mailed to a vendor on their behalf. And then we're building this really beautiful opt debit card that they can use in a retail setting. I think we're like maybe a week or two away from having the actual card, but the full product is available right now. We'll give you a heads up, obviously, as soon as that comes in. In terms of the closing, the whole point is so they don't have to go out of pocket. They pay directly out of the transaction itself. So 7 days before the closing, we send a final payoff statement to the client, to you, the agent. We can send it directly to title if you guys tell us who that is. And they can ACH us directly out of the proceeds themselves. So I never have to look at the funds. They never have to do anything with them. They just pay us back directly out of the closing. We built, and I'll share a QR code in a second. We built a bunch of marketing materials kind of out of the box, listing presentation stuff, comparison sheets, these funds versus alternatives like like a HELOC, credit card, personal loan, things like that. Social media assets, we have email campaigns, we have a bunch of marketing materials and like content that you guys can put into like a pub campaign or something like that. So I'll share the QR code for where you can access that information. When we survey our agents that use the product effectively and what that experience was like for them, it's one of the first things they talk with their clients about. So it's not something that comes in necessarily late in the conversation. It's something that comes in the very first time they have a conversation with their seller. That conversation starts with, "You got a beautiful home. There's a couple of things that we want to do to get this on the market." Robin and I have literally had this conversation about our property in Sabin. And so the conversation with me and Robin, when we sat down to decide whether or not whether we're going to rent or whether we're going to sell our house, was like, what are the kinds of things that we might need to do in order to get this property on the market? And that's when she would say to us, "By the way, Max, I know you have a nice car in front. I know this is a $900,000 property. I assume you guys are in good financial shape because you bought a couple of properties with me. But if you want to not go out of pocket and defer any expenses that you have, because you have two beautiful kids that have marked up the walls, you've got a dog, we've got to probably do some landscaping here, we've got to clean up. If you want to not go out of pocket, we have an option in place." So she's not making a judgment call about my finances. She's not having an awkward conversation about whether or not we even want to do the work, because she doesn't know if I have the money to be able to do that or if I want to. So instead of having a conversation about the ROI that you're going to get out of staging, we just have a solution in place that you don't have to go out of pocket for it. Let's revisit that once we sign the listing agreement, but this is an option, this is a solution, directly for us. So that conversation comes up at the very beginning of the process for agents that effectively use the product well. As they start that, they can head off the otherwise kind of awkward conversation about what are the pieces of work that we need to do to get you the most out of your property. Every time you go into a listing, you know exactly what those things are. As soon as you walk in, you're looking at things, you're smelling things, you are noticing all the different things that are going to need to go into getting your client the highest net proceeds. Rather than start with a conversation about how they're going to fund that, you have just the option to introduce this concept to them. We have built, like I said, a URL. I'll share that URL. There's nothing you need to remember outside of that. There's a QR code that'll say for that. You can also, it has my contact information in there too, if you have questions. So there's no platform or anything for you guys. We already have the agent roster. We proactively communicate when a client applies. If we need documentation to update you that something's happened, we do that directly via text. So there's nothing that you guys need to set up. We just have that URL to go through. You can contact me with any and every kind of question you have. In terms of the actual the product itself, how it works, there's a $4.99 origination fee that only gets paid out of the closing, and then the client pays interest only on the amount that they use, only during the time that they use it. So say they get access to $25,000, they use $20,000 out of that, and they only use that for 4 months. If their rate that they got was 12%, they would be paying 4%. Does that make sense? So they're only paying interest on the amount they use during the time that they use it. The state of Oregon doesn't allow us to charge origination fees. So for any clients that are in Oregon, that's just waived. So that means for any of the deals that you're doing in Oregon, it's just interest on what they use during the time they use it, which is great. Again, it only comes out of the closing itself. They get a rate that's based on their FICO. There's a minimum of 680 that they need to have credit score wise in order to be able to get access to the program. The benefit of doing this fully unsecured is it's really incredibly quick. It's literally 90 seconds. They can get access to those funds and use them right away. The flip side of that is that we need to de-risk ourselves a little bit. And so we can't go into the sort of deeper credit ranges. So give your clients a heads up. This is a lending product. They kind of can't have like a bunch of delinquencies or things like that. So let's see what you qualify for here, see how much we have access to, and that can help us decide what we want to do in terms of your listing and getting the most out of it. So yeah, I'll keep this up for a second. And then I also wanted to call out, I don't know, Ricky, are you on the call?
Yeah.
Saw her on there, yeah.
So Ricky had a client come in last night and apply, get approved. Ricky, can you share a little bit about like the scenario that kind of led to your client coming in to apply?
Yes, thank you so much. They're absolutely thrilled about the program. Just to start out, my clients bought this home a couple years ago with the intention of living in it, and then life circumstances changed and they had to rent it. And now they're getting ready to relist it, and there are some things that just needed to happen, and they didn't want to have it be vacant, float the mortgage, and then also have to do like these renovations that were really going to kind of get it top dollar. So it was like a 90-second process. They applied, they've got great credit. It was super simple for them. All I had to do was upload the listing agreement, and then boom, like we were cleared, we were good to go, and they're just over the moon, like so excited that this option was available to them.
Awesome. And then Drew, you had a guy that came in through as well.
I did, yeah. We weren't even on the, we didn't even really have the product going, but it shows how fast Max and the notable team worked, that there was some painting that needed to be done before getting on the market. The client thought that they could dig into their 401k, but it turns out that they had already maxed that out, but they had already had the painting done, had not paid the painter. So we're talking to Max, and Max is like, well, why don't we see if we can get this product done? And this person, with good credit score, tons of equity in the house, but kind of in a semi-retired state, kind of transitional. And it was amazing how within a day it was done. Painter was paid. He was thrilled. They were thrilled. And again, at a 9 to 15% interest rate, it's really pretty nominal.
It's prorated to the day, right? So if they hold that for 2 months, 9% would be,
So it was great. It was solved a problem, and he was not sleeping about not being able to pay this painter.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, Ricky, the other thing that I think is huge is we can cover temporary housing with the funds. So if you have a client that wants to get out of the house to either stage, to do work on it, if it's somebody that's older that's moving out of the house into like a care scenario, we can cover that piece as well. It's a really creative list of things, anything that's going to contribute to getting the right price, and like that actually just is specific to the listing itself.
Does the purchase need to be approved before the funds released? Make sure it qualifies.
Purchase of which house?
The purchase of the product or service or whatever having to do with the selling of the house. Because if it has an open line of credit, basically, and you said they can just transfer cash into their checking account, what if they go on vacation?
Yeah, great question. So they'll need to have a listing agreement with you in order to get access to the program, just in general. This is a good thing because it's a hook to get them on board, right? Their access to the product. They can't come to me directly and get this loan. They can't go to another agent in Portland and get this loan. They have to be like an opt agent. So for one, they need to have a listing agreement. That's how we're able to do that unsecured. Unsecured is because we know that they will actually are motivated to like list their property. Once they get approved, they get access to those funds. As I mentioned, there's kind of these 3 ways they can get access. They can direct deposit, have a check mailed to a vendor, or use the card. So once the card's up, they use that card. It's passively gated, meaning it won't work at the movies, but it won't work at Home Depot, right? So the card is gated in that sense, that they don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. For direct deposit or having a check mailed to a vendor, they basically, the first $5,000, no receipt, no questions asked. They just get cash. They can request up to $5,000. This is like our experience with like selling a house is there's just a bunch of ticky tack things come up. Handyman is $500, whatever that. The first 5K of the direct deposit or the check, no receipt, no invoice, no statement of work. After that first 5K, they'll need to upload an invoice, a statement of work, or something that just shows what the work is. Now, we're not making a judgment call about it, the quality, whether they're bonded or like anything. We're just confirming it's not like flights to Maui, right? So like they can't cover stuff that's not related to the house, but they can cover basically anything. So they just take a picture. It's like depositing on your phone, banking app or something. Take a picture of invoice, statement of work, upload that, and then we have same day turnaround for that direct deposit.
Kevin has a quick question on the Zoom.
Oh yeah.
What factors go into the underwriting decision? Is it income, credit based? What variables go into deciding who gets how much, or if they get approved at all?
Great question. So in terms of the approval, it's 680 minimum, and so they have to have like a 680 or higher FICO. We're working on deeper credit solutions, which will probably have one by like early Q1 if those things come up. But basically, the criteria is 680 minimum. There's no income like verification or anything. Like the most common use case is I have a lot of equity, but I don't have a ton of cash, and so like we're not checking their like income or anything like that. It's basically just FICO. If they have like a bunch of like gnarly credit delinquencies, those would be kind of standard things that would disqualify somebody from a loan. But really, the only meaningful criteria that you would need to know about would just be that they have a 680 or higher. In terms of the amount that they get access to, and then their interest rate is gonna vary based on that FICO. So it'll be the top range of that with the 680, and then all the way down to 800 plus. Basically, it's like 800 at about 800 there at the 8.99. In terms of the amount that they get access to, it's based on the equity that they have in the house as well as the home price. So we go up to 5% of the home price right now. We'll probably expand that to 10 beginning of next year. We're trying to focus specifically on smaller cosmetic things that are actually going to generate the highest ROI.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Could it go towards staging?
Yes. Most common use case for us is staging.
Okay. And also if they paid back within a week, is there like a lower interest rate, or is the interest rate going to kick in regardless of whatever?
Yeah, there's no penalty for prepaying, but there's no benefit for them to pay it off early.
Let's go to Ricky on the Zoom and then to Greg.
Did I hear you correctly that you said in Oregon there's no origination fee?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it just gets waived. It's like on the application link when you go here to the like send clients here oftenhance.notablefy.com. There's like a disclaimer about sort of where what the different sort of like rates are by state. When they go through to apply, they basically just like won't have the origination fee associated with it. So we don't like necessarily advertise that, but it's because that's kind of subject to change.
Trying to use similar products like this in the past, it's never worked for several of my clients because they didn't have enough equity in the home.
Right.
Minimum equity number. Usually these other companies, 20% or like doing it.
But they need to have 20%.
They need to have 20. Yeah.
Yeah. The funds basically like it's essentially like a HELOC that doesn't have any of the hangups or like requirements or timelines. So they will need to have that because the funds come out of the equity that they have in the house.
Sure.
It's just that we don't do the like full mortgage lien, sort of on top of that. So they'll need to have enough equity to kind of cover that. But because we're only going up to 5% anyway, like it's not like they need to have 50% equity in the house to get access.
Okay. But what if they had, let's just call it, they only had 5%. What do they get on a $500,000 house?
So we're gonna take basically like a 15 to 20% haircut of the equity that they have to reserve or let's cover closing costs, and then out of that like remainder, they'll be able to get access to that like to that much equity.
Okay, and then second question, what if the house does not close, they decide not to sell?
Yeah.
And they're on the hook for X, obviously, there's like a credit card, they owe you, they go on a payment plan, how does that work?
Yeah, so in terms of the sort of triggers for repayment of the loan, the most common is obviously like out of the closing itself. If we get to, it's a 12-month loan, so we get to 12 months, they technically owe those funds back. We're not a collections company, we are not interested in that, so we ask them to pay that back. If they can't for whatever reason, we just put them on a payment plan. If they decide they are going to like not list the property at all, like we are taking off the market, we are not going to sell our home, or I want to go list with a different brokerage, those trigger a repayment to us. So good hook for you guys in terms of signing 12-month listing agreements and getting your clients to sign the 12-month listing agreements. The loan is 12 months. So it makes sense for your client to sign a 12-month listing agreement with you. If they decide they want to, they don't want to work with you anymore, they want to go somewhere else, they owe those funds back because the loan is contingent upon them working with an opt agent. And so this is another good hook in terms of preserving that relationship itself. In all of those cases of like repayment or anything like that, like I said, we're not a collections company. We'll follow up with them to put them on a payment plan if they need anything that has to do with the like loan itself, any specifics, questions, any potential issues that would come up. That's us as notable, right? Opt isn't included in the name of that follow up. There's no liability to you on the agent side. There's no liability to opt on that. The whole purpose of this is so that you guys don't have to go out of pocket when you're like, let's stage this house. It's beautiful. It's going to sell faster. And they're like, I just don't have the cash to do that. You're like, I know that this is going to work. So I'll put my own money up to get this looking good and marketed well, rather than you needing to put yourself out there or like, borrow like cash from somebody else yourself. We want to remove that liability from you all. So anytime that's triggered a repayment, we follow up, ourselves as notable. You guys are really out of the picture in terms of that fault. We want you to get all of the shine of being able to have an opt enhanced branded product without any of the logistical headaches, nightmares, like liability or anything. So that's it. So this is the QR code. When you go here, it's just notable fi.com/opt-enhance. You'll see our agent center, which has a bunch of marketing materials in it. My contact info is also there. And if you have any questions, you're going on a listing presentation, if you have something coming up, call me, text me. I'm happy to chat with you. I'm happy to chat with your clients. If you would like, it's like the first time and you're like, not sure how to talk about APR or if I should be, or what the exact terms are. And I don't remember, like totally fine. We don't want you guys to be experts. And like Tyler said, it's not your job to do our job. It's we're trying to empower you to have a resource. And then when you have questions or anything like that, I can jump on. I join listing presentations all the time. I'm very happy to help you guys out there.
Is there going to be a slick or something that we can use to give to people?
Yeah. So I can show you. We go to.
Yeah. I think there's a bunch of slicks. I was poking around on what Ali sent out. There was all marketing materials.
So this is that agent center that I showed you guys before.
Yeah.
So these are like overview listing presentation, how it works. We have postcards you can print out and mail, which have QR codes. We also have this beautiful little fake cards that you can use. Email templates you can plug in, and then social media assets, my contact info here. So yeah, all the materials that you would need to have access to are in the agent center here.
We'll print them out and have them.
Seems like something you just put in a listing book.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, should go in the listing book and then I think also the cards and things like that are really good. So yeah,
looks great.
Yeah, I'm really, I get excited about things, but I'm super excited about this. My cousin, wife's cousin, Summer, who's a Compass agent there, so she's constantly, and it helps her win tons of listings because, you combine some of the tools that we have. You combine this with like Zillow Showcase and say, hey, I've got proof that we sell your home for 2% more, and you can finance the staging and temporary moving costs if you got to move out. It's going to be hard for you guys to lose listings, which is exciting. So I'm super excited about it. Max, let me ask you a question on the credit card. It's individual to the client. So they get it in the mail, or something?
Yeah, they get it, like, once we have the card up and running, as soon as they get approved, they'll get a virtual card instantly.
Yep.
That they can use online if they go to Amazon, Best Buy or whatever. And then they get a physical one in the mail. It's technically a debit card,
Yep.
which is good for them because there's no credit card fees associated. It's literally just access to the funds for them.
Can I ask an ask?
Yeah.
I should have pre-flighted this with you
Yeah.
before. Can we get some dummy cards of it?
Oh, yeah.
That just, I think in a listing presentation showing the credit card they get, there's a certain tangible kind of visual aspect to that would be beneficial. So
Ask and you shall receive.
yeah, it doesn't even need to have wipeability or something like that. Yeah, if we could, can we get plastic ones? Or I can probably find a vendor that will do that if you cannot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you can. We basically built this out in
Yeah.
the Agent Center.
yeah,
And so there's the replica card there. Yeah, my recommendation is like print out a ton, we just have them in the office.
yeah, and if they could be
like,
plastic
load
on
them
your
up
credit
when
card,
you're-
they'll go nowhere, but it'll be
Yeah.
cool in a listing presentation.
Well, the QR code will go for the client to apply, so you can
Yeah.
drop them off at open houses. things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I just
What's
have
up, Rakesh?
last question.
Yeah.
So they bought the house and the house closed. You said if they paid for anything before the closing, they could use that as the line of credit.
Yeah.
Could they use it for an upgrade? So if they wanted to get some fixtures done in the house after closing, could that be utilized?
Oh, you mean for like a buyer?
For a buyer, correct.
For a buyer, no, we
It has to be a list.
it's a seller, yeah.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, this version is a seller product. We actually piloted a buyer version.
Okay.
And we did hundreds of transactions. It worked really well. It's 36-month loan. Like we work with the lender. We are looking for a capital provider to give us those funds right now to be able to like give us the opportunity to do that. So we'll probably be doing something on the buy side like next year.
Well,
I have a question.
yeah.
Is there an opportunity for an agent to hold the card, use the card as they see fit, rather than have the client do that? So the agent is taking on the liability.
Yeah, we don't have a way to give the funds to the agent because it's like the loan is technically specific to the like to the seller. We're like looking at building essentially like we haven't talked about this, but like a commission advance like product where basically like you could get a loan like you have a listing agreement, you get the loan, and then you can do whatever you need with those funds out of that amount. So you could basically like handle it for them.
Right.
Essentially, if you wanted. Trying to suss out the use case that like so like part of the reason we built the product this way was so that agents like didn't have to do that like that stuff themselves, but you know, depends in some cases they would prefer to do that for their client.
Yeah, it's nice to take a client out of the mix because you know you say, hey, take care of this, and then you're waiting.
Right. Yeah. You can rely on us to or work with us like in terms of getting that stuff done.
I'm sure you could do all the scheduling, meet them there, do the whole thing, and just send the invoice to the client.
Yeah.
Sure.
Correct. That's exactly what I did in the painting scenario where it's like, hey, here's painter start. So are you okay with this? Great. Help him upload the document. He gets, then the money's there. So yeah. But there's some use cases that are exciting there too. Good questions. Any others?
Well, Ricky, we'll do a testimonial with you as soon as you guys get closed. Thank you so much. I'm excited it was that quick for them.
Awesome. Cool product. All right.
Great.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Max. We'll conclude here. We'll see you soon. Max.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna say no.
Out of all the products you see,